All right, my name is Laura Packer, and you can find out about me at laurapacker.com if you want to find out more. So that's my advertising blurb. When I was thinking about news stories for tonight, I was drawing a blank. So being who I am, I've come up with two stories for you. One is a story that we know of about something that we know only when it was old. So here is a piece about it when it was new. She didn't know her father. He died when she was just a little girl, and her mother always told her different stories about him as she was growing up. But she lived with her mother in a house by the edge of the woods, and it was a good life because she loved her mother, and her mother did her best to take care of her. And there was her grandmother, and her grandmother loved her so much. Her grandmother brought her sweets and treats and always told her that she was the most precious thing in the wood. And every year for her birthday, her grandmother would give her a gift. And that year, when she was just on that cusp, when she stopped being a little girl but was not yet a woman, her grandmother brought her a parcel bigger than anything she had ever received for her birthday before. She sat her down and put it on her lap and said, "Here, this is your birthday gift this year. Darling, I made it just for you." And so the girl, no longer a little girl but not yet a woman, opened it up and saw all of the red wool. She shook it out and wrapped it around herself, and oh, that red cape, as it wrapped around her, was so warm. It felt like her grandmother was hugging her. And her grandmother said to her, "Now listen to me, sweetheart. When you go through the woods, always wear the red cape and always put the hood up. It will keep you safe." And so the other story, something that we know only when it was new, but what happened to it when it was old. You know the end of this story. You know how she looked so beautiful in her robes, in her gown. And when the clock struck 12, she ran down the steps and lost that one shoe, that single glass slipper. And you know how the prince went from house to house to house and still could see her beauty even through those rags, and how she managed to put her foot into the glass slipper, ignoring how it cut around the edge. And the shoe fit. And so she and the prince married, and as far as we know, lived happily ever after. But what you don't know is this. She took those shoes, and she took them away with her, away from her stepmother's house, away from that place where she need never go again. She wrapped them in silk, layer after layer after layer, and after her wedding she put them high up on a shelf in her closet, thinking that she need never see them again. And she didn't see them for years, until one day she came into her room and there was her daughter. Her daughter had gone into her closet and pulled down so many things. Her daughter, now 5, 6, 7 years old, her daughter playing dress up in her mommy's gowns. Her daughter wearing shoes of glass far too big for her tiny, perfect feet, tottering as best she could in those high heels, the glass dusty, and with each step a crunching sound as the heels ground down just a little bit more.